friends, how's it going? It's me, Betty Jean. Today's video is going to be another segment in my series where I take some older palettes in my collection and chat about if I would purchase them if they were launching right now. This is the 11th installment in the series, I'm pretty sure, which is crazy. I'm really glad you've been enjoying this series because it's been really fun for me. Again, as always, huge shout out to Dolly Mama Beauty, who I got this video inspiration from. I will have her channel down below. It's been a lot of fun, a really fun way to kind of reflect on some palettes and really just dissect how I would feel if it launched right now. Because some of these palettes I still love with my whole heart and I'm happy that I own them. But would I be excited about it if it were coming out right this second, you know? But we're gonna get into it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Before we do, I did of course film this look. It should already be up on my Instagram and TikTok by the time this video goes up. And as far as my accessories go, these plugs are Hear No Evil jewelry on Etsy. This hat is from Witchwood Bags, and I don't know where this choker's from. So yeah, without further ado, let's just go ahead, hop on in, and chat about these palettes. All right, let me grab my pile of palettes here. As always, I recruited my husband Zane to help me pick them just so that they would be as random as possible and I wasn't like being influenced on what to grab. Some of these are PR, some of these I bought myself. Stuff like that. I'm kind of trying to factor out the fact that some of these were PR when I do this type of video. There are some instances where a certain palette may have been PR and maybe the only thing I've ever tried from that brand is PR, but in this instance, I'm just pretending that maybe I've already purchased everything myself and I'm deciding about this one, you know what I mean? I'm also not taking into account anything that was limited edition or no longer available. It's all just brand new to me in this scenario, and how would I feel about it if it just like popped up on Trend Moods page, for instance? All right, let's just kick it off. These are in no particular order. I just have them stacked smallest to biggest. First up, we have this quad from Kaleidos, the Black Jasmine. It's from the Smoky Nostalgia collection. This came out earlier this year, but I figured enough time has passed that we can talk about it again. I love the packaging. I think it's beautiful, and I really liked the whole vibe of this collection. All the pretty blushes. I think there were lip products as well, the two quads. As much as I love Kaleidos and as much as I love smoky makeup, cool toned eyeshadows, I have to be honest with myself, I'm not a quad person. I very rarely reach for them. I feel like sometimes I use them just for the sake of using them for you guys, but as a general rule, I don't really reach for quads. So in this sense, I'm pretending that everything I already own from Kaleidos I did by myself, and this is launching right now. How would I feel about it? I think I would say that's gonna be perfect for some people. I just know myself and I know I'm not gonna get enough use out of it. So this is so painful because as much as I love the brand, I know in my heart I'd be able to skip on it. Even though I really do like this quad, I think the quality is nice if you're looking for just like a very concise, smoky situation with a really pretty metallic silver. This is totally like up your alley. I just know myself, I don't use quads that often, so this one I'd be able to pass on. Next up, number 2 is the Sugarpill Fun Size 2 palette, and I'm pretty sure this is the final palette I have to talk about in the series from them. And that actually works out because this is still their newest palette. I think this launched last year. I think it's been a whole year since this one launched. I don't remember exactly when it came out, but most things I have purchased from Sugarpill myself. I did start getting PR recently within the last like 2 years, but pretty much everything before that was all me, baby. So this was PR, but I'm pretending that I'm deciding for myself if I want to purchase this. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, I would be so stoked about this because I love my original Fun Size. I think it's such a cute concept. I love little turkey cat here on the front with the boba tea. I love the colors in here, like this swampy green. If you can't tell, love a swampy green. These tones are amazing. These tones are so cute. I love the first one, so I would absolutely be buying this one if it were launching right now, and it never launched yet. Next up, number 3. This one's really exciting to talk about. This is the Creepy Cute palette from Shroud. I've had the Creepy Cute for years, but I did just get a like newly revamped packaged version of it. This was the first thing I ever bought from Shroud years ago, like one of the oldest things in my collection until I got the updated version. I bought this and the Divinity at the same time and I fell in love. I've used the Creepy Cute so many times. If you need inspiration, I for sure have multiple looks for you out there on my channel and on my Instagram and TikTok. I love the Creepy Cute. And in this sense, I guess I'm pretending that Creepy Cute 2 was the first one because she recently came out with a Creepy Cute 2 and that this would be the sequel to it since that one already exists. I would be so pumped because I just Love Shroud's formula, obviously. I have such a close relationship with the brand, having collabs and all that. And I fell in love with the brand long before I even had a collab, long before I even had a relationship with the owner. And I would still be so excited about this one. I think it's so cute. I love these tones. Obviously, I wouldn't know it going into it blindly, but I do know that Void is like my favorite black in my whole collection. I think I would be all over this. I don't even think I would hesitate just because I am such a sucker for Shroud. Love the packaging, love the theming. I think it's adorable. Next up, number 4. This one's gonna be really tough. Number 4 is my Soul Mane palette from Odin's Eye. It looks like this. This was the first palette I ever tried from them. I always say this when I use palettes from this era, but I got sent this during like pandemic, early quarantine time. It was like April, I want to say, of 2020. So this feels like a time capsule to hold because this was back when I was stuck at home. My salon was closed, and this really did cheer me up. It gave me something to do, gave me something to look forward to playing with makeup. And this just holds such fond memories for me in the sense that it like was the start of my love for this brand because Odin's Eye is one of my favorite brands of all time. And I loved this palette. I still think it's really cute. This mustard and lilac made me really happy, and I really like the shimmers in here as well, specifically this one. I will say their formula has improved drastically over the years. I feel like this doesn't even hold a candle to what their newer formula is. The mattes are just way more pigmented and buttery, and their shimmers are so much more shifty, special, sparkly, amazing. This one's definitely like clearly like one of the first palettes, if you know what I mean. Going into this one, obviously I'm pretending that all of the other palettes that I own from them, which is quite a lot, I've purchased myself, and this is the new one coming out. So with that being said, the formula would be like the revamped version. So this is a very weird one to talk about. And as much as I love these couple shades in here that really speak to my soul, the majority of this I really don't use. And it's so hard because it's like, I love this palette, but I love just such a specific part of this palette. Pretty much just like these middle 2 rows. Honestly, more like these shadows. And this pink, I do like this pink and I like this orange. Only really like half of this palette I use on the regular. And as much as I love Odin's Eye and every other Odin's Eye palette I've talked about so far in this series, I'm like, yep, no questions asked, love Odin's Eye. This is the one I feel like I'd maybe be able to talk myself out of now, just knowing what I already own from them. Was this absolutely wonderful and amazing when it was like one of the only Odin's Eye palettes I had? Yes, 1000%, one of my favorite palettes for a while. However, they've come out with things that are just so much better. The color stories speak to my soul more. I think this one I'd be able to admire from afar, and that feels so painful to say. It feels like I'm betraying like 2020 Betty Jean because she was obsessed with that palette, but they've just come out with such better things. I have things in my collection that give me a similar vibe that I like more. So that one I'd be able to keep to the side. I don't think I'm gonna declutter it at the end of the year during my declutter series, however. I mean, I guess we'll just have to wait and see, but I just know if it launched right now, I think I'd be able to, you know, just let it slide. Next up, number 5 is from Lethal. I believe this is called the Night Flower palette. I'm blanking on the name, but it is so pretty. This launched earlier this year. I feel like, again, enough time has passed that I can talk about it. This palette was such a whirlwind because I placed my order for it the day it launched and I was so excited for it, and I was stalking the tracking and everything, and then it just suddenly stopped moving for like a week. So I contacted the brand and asked them just like, hey, can we check on what's going on with this? It was supposed to arrive like a week ago and it's just frozen. And they were like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Something must have happened and I don't think your package actually got shipped out. At the moment we're out of palettes, so would you rather have a refund or do you want us to send you one when it comes in stock? And I just opted for the refund at the time just because there was no telling when it would come, and unfortunately with the gig of doing YouTube videos you kind of have to jump on things early. But then magically, like a month and a half later, the original one, the one that I did buy, ended up in my mailbox. The box had been through it, but the palette was perfect on the inside. I let them know that I got it and I was so happy, and I'm still so glad this ended up showing up. The fact that I almost like missed out on this makes me sad because I think it's amazing. And I can tell you right now, if this hadn't launched earlier this year and it was launching right now, I would be all over it. I think this is gorgeous. I love a blue-purple color story. I think this is so good. I love Lethal's formulas, and I'm so excited about this one still. So I would absolutely be adding this one to my cart if it were launching now. Next up, number 6. This is my Menagerie Whale Song palette. It looks like this. Oh, this one takes me back to like, what, 2018 or 2019? This was like such an OG palette for me. One of like the first indie brands I really started getting into. And I remember being so stoked about this palette. I vividly remember this was back when I was essentially killing myself for videos, even before I was even monetized or very early monetized, making nothing basically. I remember I was constantly filming like every single second of the day. Like I would film before work and after work. I would film in the middle of work sometimes. Like I would come home, film, and then go back. And I vividly remember I worked a very long day. I'd probably already gotten up early and filmed that morning and worked probably a 9-hour day in the salon if I had to guess. This arrived in my mailbox that night and I just remember it was like a rat race for me. I was like, I want to be the first. So I busted it out. I stayed up late. I filmed with it, edited it, uploaded it. I simply cannot do that anymore. I value my sleep so much. I feel like I still post videos very consistently, but I'm not killing myself over it anymore. So we're finding a balance here, but I just vividly remember that. But regardless, we're talking about this palette now that I'm fairly certain is no longer available, but I think all of these are available as singles. I still love a swampy, grungy blue-green color story. This one makes me so happy. I remember it was like the battle of the blue-green palettes during this era. I even did a video all about that, and this one still like just holds such a near and dear place to my heart. I think this is gorgeous. Menagerie has since released so many palettes since that year, and now we're pretending that this one is launching. Most of my things from Menagerie I have purchased myself, but I do get a couple PR things sprinkled in here and there. So yeah, I'm pretending that this is coming out. Am I gonna buy it? I think I would absolutely buy it. This still speaks to my soul. I love how pigmented and rich these mattes are, and the shimmers are amazing. These colors are just so up my alley and I love it. So this one, without a shadow of a doubt, would be mine. Also, fun fact, I've mentioned this before, so those of you who know, you know. I have a weird irrational fear of whales. They're just so large, really all aquatic creatures. Kind of freaks me out a little bit, but especially whales, because just their vast size, that's horrifying. Moving on now to number 7. This is my Beetlejuice Recently Deceased palette from Melt Cosmetics. This was the collab they did with Beetlejuice back at the end of 2020. I skipped on it at the time just because, again, that was early pandemic days. I was still recovering from my salon being closed, was not able to prioritize it as much as I wanted it. I was able to talk myself out of it then, but mostly just because of financial reasons and that alone, because I was really excited about this collection. I actually recently got gifted this a few months ago from one of my friends who wasn't using hers anymore. And I have to tell you, I'm so happy that I have this. Just like the fact that I own this makes me so happy. I love spooky makeup. I love Halloween themed makeup. And I can tell you right now, with it being like mid-September as I'm filming this, I'm fairly certain this is going up in October though, but if this were launching right now, I would be all over it. Give me all the spooky makeup, give me all the Halloween makeup. I am obsessed. I think this is so cute. I do still wish that it was like more of the vertical pans like they typically do, but regardless, I love the color story. I love a Beetlejuice color story, and I would happily be all over this if it were launching right now and hadn't launched back in 2020 when I simply couldn't afford it. Moving on now to number 8. This is my Give Me Glow Vintage Rose palette. It looks like this. I have only ever purchased Give Me Glow things myself. I do not get PR, same with Melt. Melt does not know I exist. But I remember being so pumped about this. It's still one of my favorite Give Me Glow palettes ever. And had this not launched, what, 2 or 3 years ago? I don't even know how old this one is now at this point. But had it not launched in the past and it were launching right now, I would be really excited about it. Especially because, like, I also feel like this is also, it's kind of moody, you know? It's not totally like a fall palette, but it has those moody, grungy vibes that I crave all the time. And I love Give Me Glow's formulas. I think the mattes are just buttery and pigmented and amazing, and their metallics are just so incredibly shiny. I would absolutely be stoked if this were launching right now and had never launched. I think this is such a beautiful color story, and I would simply have to own it. Moving on now to number 9. It's my Nomad Cosmetics Whistler Snow Lodge palette. This launched in January of this year. I can't believe, like, we're already such a huge chunk of the way through the year. That's mind-boggling. It feels like yesterday that this got launched. I was obsessed with it when it launched, and I'm obsessed with it now. I think Nomad has been killing it the last like 2 years. I think all of their stuff has just been so exciting, so beautiful. I think their mattes are so just easy to use and blendable, and their shimmers are just outstanding. They have been doing such a beautiful job, and I think this color story is so good. It's moody, warm, and cool. It's just so pretty. I would absolutely have to have this, even though like I'm definitely more into the spooky fall vibes at the moment. I still don't think I'd be able to pass on this. And again, disclaimer, I have only received PR from Nomad, aside from my first palette, but that was a gift from a friend. So I haven't spent my own money on Nomad. I'm just pretending everything that I have, I already purchased myself, and I'm deciding about this one. And I think I would absolutely have to have it. I think it's so, so pretty. And finally, last but not least, is the Lowest Cosmetics Meet Me in the Underworld. I think this is gorgeous. So this launched like springtime of 2021, and I ended up passing on it just because that was right in the thick of when we were moving into our new house. And I was like, better to not spend money on makeup right now and put it towards house things. So I did talk myself out of it, begrudgingly so, and I just kind of admired it from afar. And then I think towards the end of last year, or maybe the beginning of this year, I'm not quite sure. I think it was the beginning of this year actually, they launched the Meet Me at Midnight. And I bought that in an instant. That is so pretty. The purple, blue, moody vibe, absolutely gorgeous. And then when the brand saw how much I love that palette, they did send me this one themselves, which was very, very sweet of them. And I have to say, had this one not launched last year and I still tried the Midnight first this year, and then this one launched right now, absolutely this one would be mine. I feel like this also fits the fall vibes really well. I think this is gorgeous. I would absolutely have to have it. I think their formula is really nice and their color stories are beautiful. And just the theming, how freaking beautiful. So that would be mine. And yeah, that wraps it up for this one, chatting about some of these palettes. Would I buy them if they were launching right now? This is where we landed. 8 of them, I said absolutely I would have to have it. And then 2 of them, I said I'd be able to pass on, which is crazy because these are 2 of my favorite brands. But these specific palettes right now in this moment, I'd be able to talk myself out of it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you have any of these 10 palettes that I talked about today, I would love to extend the same scenario to you. Would you buy it if it were launching right now? If you made it to the end of this video, you know, why don't you leave me some purple green emojis, because we are Beetlejuice-ified in here today. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel out a lot. And if you're not already, you can follow me on my other socials. You can join the battybean fam. I am battybean on everything, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, bye. Side note, this is actually the first video I'm filming with my new spooky background. I know this video is very pre-filmed. I think this video is going up weeks after I've first introduced the background on my channel, but I'm just feeling myself right now. I have my spooky Beetlejuice coffee. I have a pumpkin candle in the background going off, and I just feel in such a happy place right now. This is like by far my favorite time. I love just like living during this time of year. It's so good. And just the amount of serotonin it brings me just to look at like a couple orange jack-o'-lanterns, like it's unmatched.